episode of 94 Feet with Coach JT. As always, man, do me a favor, subscribe to the podcast, leave some comments, let me know what you think. Man, real quick, man, I'm just jumping to this quick short intro, man. Known this guy for a long time. I'm in LA, man. I had to pull up on my guy in his lab, man. Good dude, man. A dope musician, a dope artist, a dope person overall, man. He goes by, I know him by G. You may know him by Buddy, but he's just a good. Greg is a dope dude, man. I had to pull up, and I'm so glad, man. I haven't been in a music studio in years, man, and I'm happy to have me. But man, G, what's up? I appreciate you,
man. Always,
let me stop by, man, and get this face to face too. I didn't like it, man. Appreciate you, man. So first off, I know we're talking offline, man. Sacramento roots in Sacramento down out that way too. But I want to talk about this, man. Before the music, bro. I know you're a sports dude too, man. We share some court time together, G.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it's hoop season right now. Hopefully. I mean, basketball season, NCAA is going on. Sports, man. What was sports like for you growing up, man? And how important was it into a factor of who you are today, as far as that aspect of the games and stuff like that, competition?
You know what's crazy? A lot of we have like studio talks a lot, and we talk about how sports gave us that mindset of just like grind, working with a team, being able to step in and win and step out as a team, having your position. A lot of those things that you learn in sports, you don't realize can help you in other areas in life, right? So I played hoop my entire life. Of course, played like baseball and all these different things, but hoop was like my main thing. And I just remember, being on the court, man, and just having coaches like you got to have that mentality of just a go get. Like back in my day, hopefully I don't offend nobody, but you gotta have that dog in you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, nowadays you gotta be careful, but I'm just saying you gotta have that dog in you. Like that was in our era. It was like, man, you gotta bring out the dog in you, and that meant just that mentality to where it's like, I don't care how big the person is, if they're faster than you, all these different things, there's a way to stop a person, and you gotta find that. You know what I'm saying? So, going to the sports arena, then coming back and like doing music and all these other things in life, sports really helped me with that dog mentality. Bring it into music, and all these other areas. Like, man, when I'm in the studio, me and my team, if we're working with somebody, like, we the best. I don't care if you go into another studio and they got all the plaques on the wall and they work with this, that person, this person. Names don't move me. You know what I'm saying? The music moves me. So, that mindset honestly started with sports. Hitting the court. So
how early on did music become some part of your life? I mean, I know we both musicians. I grew up playing, playing the percussion stuff. You do a little bit of everything, man. But at what point, like, was that something somebody introduced you to, or that's something you kind of just took an interest in? Like, let me just try something, and it kind of then it stuck with you.
It's crazy, man. So I'm actually I've been doing a series that I've been shooting. I'm going to start releasing that series on my on my social media platforms. Buddy Bangs. You can find me everywhere.
Yeah.
So it was my first time, I think, in my life that I sit back and I really focused on my story, right? Like, who am I? Like, how did I get here? How did music start, right? So as I start back and I was focused on the series, I realized first thing, I was in the studio just actually telling my boy Brandon, and he works with me a lot to kind of help me with the creative direction. I was working with him, and I just started telling him my story. And he was sitting there and he was like, bro,
nobody ever heard.
He was like, yo, this is crazy. I didn't know this about you. He was like, yo, bro, I'm intrigued. So basically it started out when I was like what I can first remember about music is at 5 years old. 5 years old, I can remember my uncle, he lived in the house with me and my mom. We was in South Sac off Tamara Shanner.
Oh, yeah. Right down the street. Right down the street.
So, we lived over there. It was a pink house. I remember it. At the corner. My uncle used to have my mom, she's a musician, so she always had a piano in the house. Okay. My uncle at the time, he had drums in the house, and he used to, he lived with us before he moved to LA, so he was in there, he used to practice and, getting ready. And so when he wasn't home, I used to sneak in there and go play on the drums. And so, and then from there, seeing him, he moved to LA, he toured with a lot of, people back in that era, DJ Quick, Aaron Hall, all these different people. He was playing with Brandy. So for me, it's kind of crazy in the series I talk about how music chose me, because my family, everybody in my family pretty much play an instrument, sing, or so I went from playing at my grandfather's church for the children's choir, growing up and playing in the church, as I got older, to seeing my uncles, like three of my uncles, my uncle G1, my uncle Joe, and my uncle Kevin, they were really heavy in music. So watching them, and then watching them on the scale that they did it, especially my uncle G, he was working, he had records on the radio. So I was a dude to where I'm in my first time in LA. I went to Death Row Records office, at like 19 years old. I'm walking in there. I'm not knowing I'm going there. And then we open the door. I look to the right and I'm like, yo, this is Death Row Records. I'm seeing a bunch of Crips and Bloods around, like it was really like
you was in there.
No, it was a real serious thing. I'm like, yo, I'm in here. And then what's crazy, a dude he ran up to my uncle, was like, what's up, G? They start talking. And I'm looking at him like, I look at him and years later, I turn on the TV, it's Danny Boy from on a Tupac.
Wow.
So for me, like, as I start looking at my story, I'm like looking at those experiences, and then from there, see him going to my uncle start producing. I start turn on the radio and then hearing his song on the radio. But mind you though, before hearing the song on the radio, I'll be riding in the car with him or go to LA and he's playing the music. I'm like, what's that? Oh yeah, it's about to come out. So for me, it was like, yo, like
you was in it though.
Yeah. Already. So I saw the industry in the 90s at the time because I had an uncle in it.
Yeah.
3 uncles in it. So I was exposed to music at a high level so early. So for me, it was one of those things to where kind of going back to sports to where like I only knew I was trained with sports to do like, hey man, you got to have a high level thinking. With music, I was trained to have a high level thinking from when I was young. Early. So yeah, so I music was one of those things where.
What type of feeling does it? Because especially if you in it, even if you just like music to listen to, then you're playing it, performing it. What does it do internally for you? Especially when you hear that one. I saw something you dropped a couple of days ago, but you was like, we get in that groove, right? But what does it do for you to like internally?
It's hard to explain because I think, well, it's one of those things to where it's so growing up like this. My mom always told me, if you want to do music, it has to be in here. Like it got to be inside. You got to be who you are. So for me, when I hear music and when I'm doing music, or even when I used to play drums a lot, like it's one of those things that it's in me. Like I talk about it in my series, like music chose me. Like I didn't choose music. It was in my house. It was everywhere. My mom never talked down on my music career growing up, and I don't know if that was because my uncle was successful at it. She was like, well. I mean, we had a story. We had a storyline before. Some parents they don't have that example,
right?
So we had an example in our family. So it was like, hey, she's seen the path. So it's hard to explain. It's one of those things to where like I don't know. I think maybe if you eat some new food and it's the best food you ever had, you like,
got you.
What's this? Like it's like that feeling,
Man, as far as like just. We talk about reps and we talk about practice, gym time, bro. What age did you really start putting in them hours? Like, okay, no, I'm really I gotta get it in because we say right. They say it takes 10,000 hours to master something,
right?
And you saying growing up playing, being around it, but actually diving into yourself. What age or what made you kind of click? Like, nah, I'm going all in with this. Like,
well, it's to be honest, early, man. One of my best friends, we still talk to this day. I knew him since 2nd grade. I remember, I don't think he still has it, but we drew a house in 2nd grade talking about how we're going to move to LA and produce music. So, like, since I was that young, I always played instruments. I was a dude who my uncles would give me drum videos. I'll be at home watching the drum video all day long, playing on the carpets, beating holes in my mom's carpets. You know what I'm saying? Or going to my grandfather's church, playing the drums. And, honestly, it's always been a part of me. And then of course start producing, I start producing, I would say like my own tracks, getting into that. But drums is always in me, right? Yeah. So producing, I would say like maybe like junior high school, my mom got a Casio keyboard and then I started learning how to make beats on there. Well, I make music, not beats. So
there you go. I was gonna say we can say it, man. I'm saying music, not beats for sure.
But no, so I started making tracks on there. So it started on a Casio keyboard, and then from there, I remember my mom bought me my own Dell computer, and then it started from there. So honestly, I say my whole life because literally that's just what it is.
Again, that's the difference, right? Producing, playing instruments,
right?
Producing. To me, that aspect seems even harder than performing. Playing on an instrument, producing. Is there some type of? I mean, who would you just is that learn freehand? Is that studying people like to be able to a good producer, or just like practicing reps? Like, oh, that don't sound good, that's failure. Or learning what is that like? Because I don't know. It maybe there's not an informational YouTube video on how to produce. I don't know. I haven't got into that. But what were you doing to sharpen your skills on that?
Yeah, so in our era, now it's different. You got
Mm-hmm.
YouTube. In our era, it was really about, you kind of just learning stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right? But luckily, once again, having family, I really learned how to produce by watching my Uncle Joe.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So he used to let me come to the studio. Pretty much, this like my high school years. He had a studio. I went to McClatchy High. Shout out
Mm-hmm.
to McClatchy.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
So I used to leave McClatchy. He had a studio, and I used to just go up there and I used to watch. And he became like, I talk about this in my series. He became my silent mentor.
Mm-hmm.
And a silent mentor to me is somebody who just allows you just to watch them and you're learning. You might ask questions. I didn't really ask a lot of questions because I got it. Oh, that's the hook. That's this. That's this.
Mm-hmm.
And so I used to just go to the studio and just watch him produce tracks. And I used to be like, oh, that's what he's doing. That's what he's doing. Okay,
Mm.
I get it. And
You
so
was observing. You was really just
yeah, just
taking it
soaking
in.
it in.
Yeah.
So so from there it was one of those things where I just kind of, once I got my equipment, I just started doing the tracks on my own and just kind of figuring it out.
Mm-hmm.
And and then from there, of course I look back, the stuff I was making back when I was younger, I thought it was the hottest thing in the world. And but I've grown now to
Yeah.
where it's like, the stuff me and my team
Yeah.
make, shout out to my production partner Big Mike.
Yeah.
We've been doing this for years and
Yeah,
stuff.
I've been linked up for a while,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, for a long time.
Shout out to Big Mike though too, man.
Yeah,
That boy bad. That boy
yeah.
cold, man.
So to now it's like really where it's like our OGs is looking at us like, man, we respect you guys on a whole nother level.
That's dope,
Just
bro.
because now, the
But y'all
level
put
we
the
could do it
time
at.
in. You put the
Yeah.
time in, you put the work in.
Yeah, it's been years, man. We've been at it, like even Mike, he comes from a background of music as
Mm-hmm.
well. His family, from his uncles playing bass, singing. Uncle Jimmy is crazy. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he's one of the coldest bass players I saw in my lifetime,
Mm.
sing and play bass at the same time. So,
Dope.
he comes from that type of family as well as
Dope.
I do.
Mm-hmm.
So, we've been doing it for a long time. So to kind of see the progression where we're at now, it's amazing.
That's what's up, man. In that where you're at right now in your life, man, as far as producing music, stuff like that, and music, just for you personally though, man, what are some, I guess, some goals you trying to get to? What we're trying to tackle coming up, man? I mean, like I said, we're in 2024 already. The time is moving, but
Yeah.
the business, the brand is going. But now you guys got, I'm looking at Billboard, like plaque, like
Yeah.
stuff. It's dope, man. The stuff in here is real dope. I'm seeing real life Billboard stuff, number 1, 2, 7, like number 1s everywhere, number 2s everywhere. Like, bro, this is
Yeah.
real. What's next? What's on the horizon for you, man? What else you trying to accomplish?
Well, right now, I'm a forward thinker, so I'm just gonna focus about
Okay,
in a moment,
for
2024.
sure.
So this year, we're focusing on right now, as Big Mike, his single we dropped on him.
Okay.
It's one of the, we dropped a lot of music on him, but we're circling back and we're focused on smooth jazz.
Okay.
So this is our first single dropping on him from our company. Cigarette Lounge, Future and Boney James, who is a huge, smooth jazz artist.
Mm-hmm.
So we're focusing on, him as a smooth jazz artist. And right now, last time I checked, I think we were like number 8 on Billboard on the smooth jazz chart. So that's
Okay.
amazing.
Yeah.
And that hit home differently because it was one of those things to where, all other plaques are great,
Mm-hmm.
nothing against them, but this is our own company, right?
Mm.
This is our own business and we're releasing independently. So the
Mm-hmm.
chart, with your own business and your own company,
To get up there.
that shit's different than, like I said, charting with an artist is amazing, but
Yeah.
when you're the artist and when your company's doing, that's amazing. So
Right.
we're doing that. That's going to be the focus going into the year 2025. Yeah. 25, right? I'm
Yep.
trying.
Yeah, we're getting there. It's
25,
coming. Yes,
man.
sir. It's
Time
coming.
go by fast. And then also to myself as a producer, there's this lane for producers that just wasn't there always.
Mm-hmm.
To be able to be your own artist, meaning dropping instrumental projects.
Mm.
Growing up the instrumental world was smooth jazz, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where now you're starting to see to where you have lo-fi or just chill
Mm-hmm.
music, or not even just chill music, just like people just producers just dropping dope R&B,
Mm-hmm.
dope hip hop tracks that catch us like, man, when I'm working out, I really don't want to hear no lyrics.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, something turn me up a little bit, or just keep me in that zone, man.
Yeah, or like or if I'm studying or something like that, I like hip hop tracks to study to.
Words sometimes, man.
The
I
words,
the music though.
Yeah, I just want the music. So
yeah,
I'm gonna be dropping a lot of music.
Okay.
My first singles, I believe, is coming out on the 12th, and I got another one coming on the 19th, and I think the 26th. So it's like 3 Fridays in a row. I'm dropping the whole EP.
Okay.
And then it's called My Thoughts Volume 1.
Okay. Where can they find that at, man? Definitely let everybody know when it comes out, man.
Yeah, when it comes, honestly, just everything Buddy Bangs. I'm the one and only Buddy Bangs, nobody else. So if you go to any social media, you can find me, and I'm gonna be, releasing all this information all the content, and
Yeah.
then you could just, you know, go from there and stream. And, you know, if you want to support, you know, you can always purchase as well.
Dope.
But, you know, gonna
That's
be
what's up,
releasing that
man.
music. Yeah.
Support my guy G, man.
Yeah.
As far as like how often do you get over back on the kid? Or like, I mean, cause I know for a while at churches that's where we was at, or you was with groups, you was always doing
Yeah.
that. I mean, that was it. I'm like, okay, like, you know, you doing this too, but how often do you get it back over here?
It's crazy. I have you know, I've been getting behind the kit a lot more lately.
Okay.
Since I moved to LA, I was doing more producing.
Okay.
So but it's a group of us. It's you know, me, Big Mike,
Yeah.
Brandon, you know, he's a great drummer. He's from Sac as well.
Okay.
And then Jarvis, he's a amazing guy we met out here. And he was like going on tour, and the church he plays at, he was like, man, I need somebody. You know, Brandon couldn't do it because he's locked in at a church.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I need somebody. And I was like, man, I ain't touched a kit. It's been a while, you know. I still got it though. You know, I never lose it. You know, cause I sit down and play here and there. And he's like, man, I need somebody. So I was like, you know, I got back in the shed, you know, and start, you know, practicing again. And then, you know, I've been playing at this church now. Every time he's, you know, he go out on tour.
Okay.
So I actually been behind the kit again, man.
That's what's up, man.
It's been fun. You know, the more I do it, I'm like, man, I miss it, man. I just, you know, I get that itch again. You know, I get the itch. So
that's what's up.
We'll see what happens, where that goes.
That's what's up, man. Hey, man, I'm here live though, man. I'm in the studio with my guy G, Buddy Bangs. Hopefully I get him to play something that he ain't released, or that's already released something for y'all in a minute. I'll record it a little later. We'll drop some little stuff, but man, I definitely want to see get him in his element. But again, Buddy Bangs, follow him, tap in, support the homie, man. Listen to the music though, man. It's definitely dope and fire. Something for everybody too, man. Very versatile, man. But again, G, I appreciate your time.
No, I appreciate you.
Definitely, again, man. Dope setup in here, man. I'm loving it, but also I can't wait to see what's coming up next, man. And shout out to you. Y'all see the lights coming out? That means we're shutting it down. And everything, but
right.
Keep it going, man. Appreciate you, man. You heard it here first on 94 Feet with Coach JT. My guy G, aka Buddy Banks. We out.
We out.
Peace.
Peace. My G.
Appreciate you, dog. Yes, sir. All good. I drop it in a couple weeks, but yeah, man.
So you recorded on the app on your phone?
So no, I just do it on either. Sometimes it depends. Right now, I do it on YouTube, or if I'm doing Zoom, I do it via Zoom. But I just do it on straight YouTube. Just make it private and then go back.
Oh, so you go live?
I do live, but I just make it unlisted and then go back to unlisted though. Yep. So just trying to figure out. Yep, man. So I'm just trying to until I get I'm trying to get a camera. That's my next thing. So I'm trying to say I get my own little camera. That's the next setup. So yep.